Well, every time I do a presentation like this, it's a little bit different. I don't like reading off a sheet of paper. You can blame Daniel for the slideshow going on behind me because he was talking about presentation styles when he called me up the other day and yesterday, I think. And next thing I know, I'm looking through my phone for a chronological history of what we've done, and it made me realize it's actually a lot that we've gotten done in the last roughly coming up on 2 years in October. So it's been a really interesting journey. It's a journey I never could have expected myself to be on, considering I said I would never get on a motorcycle until I turned 44. It changed my mind completely. Next thing you know, my mental health is skyrocketing after I've been kind of down here for a long time, and I see the power of that in the veteran community. So I start riding with veterans. Next thing you know, I'm talking to them, and I see a common theme that veterans ride to heal, and it works. It works way better than the stuff they dole out at the VA. It works better than, talk therapy, pills. Riding motorcycles makes a big difference, and you see it when we get to where we're going, and before and during the ride. And it's just this beautiful synergy that occurs. So it's been really interesting to start a YouTube channel with motorcycle footage talking about veterans' mental health with kind of a cool backdrop. That's how this started. Next thing you know, I end up working in San Francisco, Pacific actually, and reconnect with one of my Marines, who then dared me to make a documentary instead of a YouTube channel. And I'm apparently too dumb to say no to dares. Next thing you know, I'm working on a television miniseries. So we just finished filming the pilot for the TV miniseries. It's called Warriors of the Wind. That's the reason there is a foundation. I started the foundation to fund the series. So, is that going again? Is that distracting? I can turn it off if you want. Okay. So, it's been a really interesting journey. Like I said, nothing I expected. What we found is every time we think we know what's about to happen, something changes, and we end up kind of going in different, more positive directions. And there's this snowball effect. We were talking about what's the best thing to call building a community of veterans to heal together. Is it an avalanche? Is it a tsunami? Is it a snowball effect? Um, but what we're finding is these small individual actions that we're making, whether it's in Hanford, Lemoore, Visalia, Bakersfield, all the way up to Madeira. We're checking in on a veteran that we're trying to get new housing for in Madeira. Um, and it just, every time we go to help somebody, we end up getting connected with somebody else that either needs help or can help us in another way. And it's this beautiful thing that's happening because we help these people, we see them healing, which you can see in the slideshow. People that we keep connecting with over the months and years are healing incredibly, and they're meeting all these other people that they understand and that understand them. So it's this massive healing movement that's occurring extremely organically, not on purpose per se. But to be leading this is really something I kind of pinch myself pretty often. Like, how the heck did I end up doing this? I'll kind of go off the notes here so I don't ramble too much, but what building a community looks like, I mean, I've got some notes here. Bike nights, bike blessings, chaplain services. We just got a chaplain who volunteered, Chaplain Rip, who also works with Our Heroes' Dreams. So we just got chaplain services for people who are struggling. One of the big things is pulling veterans out of isolation and bringing them into the fold with other veterans. That's immediately healing. And they may not think that it's going to be, but what we see over and over is that it's what they need. Um, let's see, the series is about getting veterans on motorcycles and riding all over the country for human connection. Okay, and so as we build that, we're also working on getting sponsorship from major corporations to build ranches across the country for these veterans to heal. So we're basically making a dot to dot, or a map from West Coast to East Coast or East Coast to West Coast, whatever ends up happening. And it's going to be kind of a trajectory they can follow to, okay, I'm going from California to New York. I'm going to have 5 branches that I can stop at. And those branches can also operate as points of sale for, say, a major motorcycle brand, a hotel chain. Maybe you could make some money doing that. We're we're incentivizing veterans, talking about what they're going through by way of giving them a motorcycle. To earn that bike over 1 year's time, they make video content talking about their journey, talking about, hey, today I met up with a veteran hung out with before. And what's going to happen is when we get sponsorship, they're going to get a really good name attached to their brand because they're helping veterans heal for the price of one bike, which those can range from $5,000 to, well, probably one grand to 120 if you're buying like an RS motorcycle. But we're doing these things for veterans, but it also makes business sense for people who will sponsor us in the end. So all that took a long time to figure out. This was a YouTube channel that turned into a foundation to sponsor a mini series. So forgive me if I seem a little ADHD. That's how it feels to me too, I promise. Let's see here. How am I doing on time? Okay. Partnerships have been a big deal for us. As you'll see in the pictures here, that's a veteran that just came back from Diego Garcia. We're teamed up with motorcycle organizations like CVMA. We're both members of that. American Legion Riders. We do funeral escorts and things along those lines. Flag details. I'm connected with Lifeway Church, of which I'm a member, or becoming a member, and they've been real good to us to launch our first big ride from their parking lot. Props to her because she had this great idea of delivering teddy bears to Valley Children's Hospital as a platoon of motorcycles. Pretty good idea. I was wearing a bear suit because she talked me into it. We've established I suck at saying no to dares. So teddy bear on a red motorcycle leading 50 others, and we get up there and the kids are happy to see us. It was a really special day. And we're getting in the media for doing these things. We've been on television, we've been on the radio, all over podcast world. So I can share links if you're interested in hearing more. Those sheets that were handed out to you, those QR codes will take you directly to our radio interview. That was probably like half an hour, I think. Some podcasting that we've done. So those sheets have a lot of information you can tap into if you'd like to. Getting veterans talking, getting veterans connecting, helping them heal, watching them heal each other. I've got a couple of key examples. A lot of people know Popeye in Hanford. The Popeye, he's homeless, hangs out by Walmart. Okay, there we go. Thank you. One day I randomly stopped and talked to him. I didn't know what I was going to get out of it and what he was going to get out of it. But wearing a Navy uniform. Turns out the guy was electronic warfare, Desert Storm, Desert Shield veteran, and he's got some pretty painful stories. But I met him in one condition. He's now sober. He's starting to look for work. He's plugged into the VA. He's taking care of himself much better. His eyes look different. His demeanor is different. And there's several veterans that we could say the same thing about. Not necessarily homeless, but maybe it's addiction issues. Maybe it's just depression. So one major guy that I'd like to be real proud of in this moment and brag on him is, we call him Beta as far as his road name on the bike. So James, Navy veteran, we kind of got connected to James through the VA through Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association, CVMA. We go to his house to help him move some boxes around. James and I start talking before we start moving boxes. We have some things in common. I find him pretty interesting. And I said, can we podcast maybe? I think we have some stuff we can do here. Next thing you know, I'm asking James if he'd like to be the first Warrior of the Wind that we bring into the fold and give him a motorcycle that he then earns by doing a bunch of stuff. I wasn't sure how we were going to get the bike. Told him that. I'm like, dude, I don't know how it's going to work, but it's going to work. So it took us about a year to source the motorcycle, give or take. But he was just given his bike at the Rawhide baseball game about 3 weeks ago now. And she knows all the dates. But so he's been out there riding. His mental health. He was in isolation for 39 years. And that, when I say that, like, he was just avoiding people. He's a long route, what do they call them, long range truckers or whatever, for a long time. Anything he could do to avoid people, he was doing it. And that day we showed up, when he connected with veterans, all of a sudden, he started seeing some light in his eyes. He was using a walker. Next time I saw him, he wasn't using a walker. He starts coming to motorcycle events, funeral escorts, veteran connection rides. And now he's lost all this weight. His eyes are bright. He's excited to be doing this stuff. And he's got a patch on his back he's really, really proud of. And that makes me, get chills every time I say it. He worked really hard for that. He went and got his license. He went through safety training. And we managed to source him a bike finally. It took a while. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's that too. So we got on the bike about a week after we got on the bike, or 2 weeks maybe. You know the dates, I'm sure. Um, we're finishing the miniseries pilot, talking all about these things, riding through the mountains of Three Rivers, and we got some pretty killer footage. We got a group of motorcyclists being filmed by a drone cutting through Lemon Cove. So it's going to be a pretty powerful scenery kind of thing. But I think I think y'all are starting to see what I'm doing here. I mean, we're talking about empowering veterans through storytelling. By doing that, we're also educating civilians on what veterans go through. We're empowering other veterans to see, hey, they went through the same thing I did. Now, why are we doing it on TV? Because we can get to the people that no one else can get through television. That's the only reason I want to do it through TV. I don't want to be on TV, but this is what I have to do what I need to do, which is I got really tired of being what I call the bad news officer in the Marine Corps, sending, Facebook posts out to people, hey, we lost another guy to suicide. And there was a lot of that, to the point where it started affecting me when it was about to happen. And she can confirm that I started feeling them coming. So this whole thing is born out of all the right reasons. It's love for my Marines and fellow veterans. It's for me, it's very spiritual. It's caring about people and watching them care about each other. I think the world needs more of that. So the selfish motives for me with all this, I get to ride a motorcycle. I get to hang out with people I love, which is veterans, and she's also a veteran, by the way. Um, and it's just been a really beautiful journey. I'm always excited to talk about it. I could talk about this for 4 hours. If y'all want to sit down, talk for, well, you're sitting down. Want me to sit down? We'll be in here for a couple of days talking about all the plans we have for this. But going back to the ranches real quick, you see some stuff with gardening. We're talking about taking elderly to national parks. A lot of people that live in this area have never been to, Sequoia National Park or Three Rivers, or so we're trying to kind of open their eyes to the healing power of nature. So we spend a lot of time going out and finding these places that then we can then take them. So Q&A, I could do this all day. What questions do you guys have? Hey, can I tell a quick story? Um, Cut me off if you need to, please. So there's a guy that needed help. He was kind of being evicted, but he was moving from basically Lemoore to Hanford, a small apartment to a small house, or more or less. And so we go there, we pack his stuff up, we clean the place up, we get the boxes out of there, we take him over. Before we even leave the place, I ask him, hey, I've got this wheelchair that somebody donated to us, and we have a really nice one if anybody needs one right now. So, but we have this wheelchair. If you need that, he's like, oh man, that sounds great. And so it was a $2,000 wheelchair somebody had gifted to us, and it was sitting there, being, waiting for the right recipient. This guy was a Vietnam era veteran. While we were in his place, cleaning the place up, I noticed he had a pair of glasses that were held on by string, and I went, I don't like how that looks. So I put out a little video on our Facebook, I think it was, and just said, hey, we've got this veteran. Could we crowdsource him a pair of glasses? Now I found out that the Lions Club actually takes pride in giving veterans their glasses. These are how things kind of happen naturally. But so we get him the wheelchair, we get him the glasses through crowdfunding, largely out of my hometown, which I was in Iowa of all things, which is pretty cool. Um, get him to the new place. He's got mobility. He can see in theory. We had some issues with the glasses we had to work through, but he had been isolating. He thought nobody cared, and then all of a sudden we're in his life. We're checking in on him. Next thing you know, I check in. I can't remember what we did the last time we saw him, but there was like a really nice, robust wheelchair ramp leading up to his place that I had no idea where it came from. But I'm like, well, he didn't have a wheelchair before, so us getting him a wheelchair, all of a sudden he's got full access. I guarantee he didn't pay for it himself. So, um, in the process of meeting him, I met his kind of caretaker, I guess you call it, who I also met a nurse through, who the nurse introduced us to another veteran who ended up needing a refrigerator across town. Um, that's just how it just goes like that over and over again. So it's been really cool to watch how people, kind of connect like that. Fundraising in a tough economy has really been a challenge. And if you talk to nonprofit leaders all over the county, the state, I mean, everybody knows the economy is kind of like this, and the nonprofit world has been surprisingly difficult to get what we need. So it's also been people saying they'll do something and then they don't do it, which is extremely disheartening, but you have to get used to it, unfortunately. Um, so the funding, the resources, we've got a truck that we deliver these wheelchairs and walkers and things. Well, we got the truck for cheap, but then the engine kind of started going out on it. We can't fix the truck, so we don't have the funds to fix the truck. So it's it's an ongoing battle with vehicle registrations. We're paying close to $7,000 a year in insurance for our vehicles, and the resources just need to keep coming, And the only way to do that is lots of presentations, and meeting the right people. And I built this to get corporate sponsorship. And eventually we will. And when we do, I think it's going to be pretty big. And we're actually getting really close to that, I think. Hopefully from a major motorcycle brand is the idea. So they basically get, I don't want to call it conditional ownership, but it kind of is. So here's the bike, you insure it, you maintain it. But what you have to do is track your mental health. I didn't say this part yet. This is also a VA mental health study showing the actual tangible quantitative benefits of riding motorcycles for mental health. And hopefully when it's all said and done, 500 veterans across the country, that much analytics to prove the value of this. But this thing is designed to make a lot of noise, literally and figuratively. And we're talking to a lot of people right now. I've got a 2-star Marine Corps general looking at what we're doing. I've already talked to a 4-star Marine Corps general. I've got people inside the VA. I've talked to some of but we've been all over the place talking to people, having them find issues with what we're doing so we can fix the issues, basically, is the idea. So I'll talk to anybody. Well, I've been on 10, 20, I don't know how many Legion rides with escorting remains and repatriation sometimes. But yeah, we've already paid our dues to get into Chapter 100 at Lemoore for other riders. So we go to breakfast there every Friday, but we've been too busy lately. So yes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. This is not a ton, but it's a little something to say thank you and thanks for what you do.
Appreciate it very much.
This is actually Fred just gave that
Okay.
to me. That's John Perez. He is
Okay.
okay. So, yeah. Nope. Got it ready.
Here, I better have this up front.
Don't have my colors on.
Thank you.
Any colors either.
And thanks, Dan. I really appreciate all of this so much.
Bye.